Okay, I want to do my guidelines for a sketchbook, a video. I've tried doing this video a few times, and let's see if this is the good one. So I wrote these down to try to help me not be so wordy in the videos, but this will probably be a long video anyway, 10 minutes or so. No rules, right? What's that say? Cliche. Yeah, no rules is like cliche, but it's true. Journal, collage, draw, paint, stencil, cut things out with a razor blade, replace pages. It's all good. Have a go-to, a safe method, motif, the safe motif. Graffiti is mine. Rockwell's Man on a Bench. So Norman Rockwell, famously would sit down in his studio and draw a man on a bench. And his story was, as soon as he drew that man on a bench, he would decide, oh, I'm going to put a flower next to it, and then I'm going to put a dog, and it would start his brain going. So if you have a motif, then you can always kind of go from there. Mine is graffiti because, you have a specific word that you focus on, and through that word, you'll always be able to return there. So maybe yours is drawing, anime or whatever, or comics, or other art cliches. Graffiti, of course, is mine, and so if I do that, that usually gets my brain going. The subconscious is a dump. Dreams, the frontal lobe, psychedelics. You don't need to do drugs. I don't know why I wrote psychedelics. Oh, because when you do psychedelics, it just expresses your frontal lobe, so it's like you think you're having all these crazy experiences, and you are, but mostly it's just whatever is loaded in your brain comes out all at once, and you get to see your own mind, and that's how people describe psychedelics. Dreams are the same way, and I did an essay about an art piece in illustration school about how people would have seizures and they would see Jesus. And dreams are kind of the similar way. I ended up calling a neurologist, and he said, try not to take that stuff too seriously, because when you have a seizure, some people wake up and they just have smelled popcorn, or they remember an old song, and so it's totally a mixed bag. Whatever you've got in your head is what comes out. So there's a lot of people who like to take dreams really seriously, and they document them and all this stuff, but really dreams are just a rehearsal for your waking life. It's a survival tool. So say you dream about someone moving out of your house, or your house collapsing. These are kind of irrational, but it could happen, and so what you do in the dream will inform how you deal with that same scenario in a waking life. So so definitely you can remember your dreams, but I would advise to be realistic about that process, and not just go on this weird bender of taking your subconscious life to really mess up, or whatever, your conscious life. Just notice it. Just notice what you notice. Drugs. Drugs just take away. They just kind of like wither you away. So I know I'm kind of creating this for high school students, and this is PG-13, but anyway, should I do drugs when I was in high school was kind of a question that was on my mind, and I tended to not do drugs, but I'll just say that your brain kind of works in its own way, and to kind of like push things into it will alter its development. So suffice to say that the kids that I knew that did a lot of drugs, they I don't know, man. So some fast books and some slow. And yeah, so I'll just go into this. It's a funny gay cartoon. This is people's names that I would like to remember, so I write them down in graffiti, and I write something about them. So this is a fast book. So yeah, the idea is that I just get through it, and it's full of studies and that kind of thing, and I tear stuff out as I need it. You know, like I might need it for a thumbnail for a painting. I like this portrait. Of course it's upside down, but so that would be a fast book. Very not precious. In fact, I tore the front cover off. I like this so that the book stays firm. So let me go into kind of a medium book. This was from a few years ago when I was in art school. It's just people to look up. Figure drawings. Yeah, I was in illustration school, so I was just doing a ton of figure drawing. And I got this book for free from a promo from that art store, and so I just tried to like blaze right through it, and I did. I guess I don't like that book too much, but you know, I could go back into that book and develop it further and further and further, but I kind of don't care about that too much one way or another, even though it's a nice book. This book was at that same time in that art school, at illustration school. And here's my class schedule. And it gets straight into kind of erotic stuff. These are drawing from sculptures in a museum in Detroit. I was traveling a little bit. And I was just kind of doing washes to try to inform the color that I would put in later. And my goal for this book was it should be all, so that I drew that from life and then made it silly. No white pages should remain. Everything should have color, but you can see that I didn't really meet that goal. But this book taught me, I think it taught me a lot. I don't know. Okay, this is my last rule, which I didn't go over. Tear pages out, go over, and how to join pages. So yeah, this page I razor bladed out, probably because the page sucked. And then I put this page in as a replacement, which I think naturally had a hole in it. And what you do is you just put glue along that edge and glue your page to the little tab. And then this is you can see what I did, kind of sloppy. You just glue this thing in a little window. Alright, I'm going to kind of blaze through this book. There's some good stuff in here. In fact, it's bookmarked. That's okay. That's a figure drawing that I tried to make a little bit silly. The paint is acrylic gouache. It kind of costs a lot for the small tubes, but it dries almost instantly, and I thought it was fun to use in a sketchbook. Of course, you can use acrylic paint just fine. You can also use, here we are basically at the 10-minute mark, you can use watercolor, but yeah, once the page is colored in opaque color, the transparent stuff, this actually looks good, but everything just wants to be opaque once you start going opaque, or you're probably a neater artist than I am. So maybe you'll know how to do it. This is the book I'm working on now. I'll get into that after this. I took this book to England, so this is my travel book. I actually took a different one to England, and then I was being too precious about it, so I bought this one so I could have sexy baby Yoda. So I could have like a dirty book and then a clean book. And of course, the dirty book ended up turning out better. Or it just had like funkier stuff in it than my clean book. So yeah, I went to England maybe like 6 months ago. And yeah, I found the whole thing interesting, especially of course in hindsight. Now I'm just like nostalgic, but it's hard traveling. Okay, so yeah, because I wanted to keep the graffiti out of my other book. I ended up getting a mural in England, so these are sketches for a mural. And then I decided to study Loomis head structure, and I'll kind of blaze through this real quick. What an interesting book, right? It has brown pages in the middle. That's the mural that I basically ended up doing in a what's it called? An observatory. So I'm rehearsing compositions because it was a trip for landscape painting based on a scholarship that I wrote and got. You know, I like applied for it, and so I still have to like make good on my promise to give a bunch of landscape paintings to the endowment, I guess. This is what I'm working on now. This one's actually for a show, a sketchbook show, and it doesn't have that much to do with my abilities, like as a sketchbook artist. I think they just knew that I was a good artist, and so they extended the offer to me, but you know, I'm going to try to make my book crazy. Of course, you know, I'm talking about the subconscious a lot. Like, in my imagination, this is going to be beautiful, but it looks like garbage now. So that's part of my advocacy for don't take your subconscious too serious, because you know, at a certain point you do have to kind of complete the picture, and that's what's really cool about painting, is you can make someone see something exactly like you see it. You can't be lazy about or blasé about people finishing the picture, because everyone's mind's different. So this is your opportunity to steer someone straight through the goalposts of your imagination and show them exactly what you're seeing. It makes me feel kind of not good speaking to myself when I speak these words, because you know, and it's not necessarily that you know what you're doing the whole time, but if you, not if, I mean, you're a unique person, and you have your own experiences. I guess if you work something until, you know, your own level of satisfaction, and that's always subjective, because it's not like you don't even know where you want to end it. You get confused in the middle of the process, and but that's okay. You know, one trick somewhat is like cover up part of the painting and see what you want this stuff to be underneath your hand. Like, you can see that, but what do you want that to be? And when you move it away, that's less satisfying probably than what you want it to be. So complete the pictures for yourself. Make them good. So, okay, 15 minutes in. That's it. I gave you my principles, and you can always draw over your paint, and you know, I wanted to make some images that people could actually see instead of just being this stuff in the beginning. I mean, this stuff's a mess, isn't it? So I'm trying to approach it in many different ways. This stuff will be very illustrated and very clean. It's clearly a landscape scene. So I'm going to try to have a lot of variety in this book. But my favorite thing about sketchbooks is that you can work this and then go way back to here and work this, you know, and then go forward and work this and try something from many, many different angles. So this says Stubbs, Bellows, Brangwyn. These are artists. So these are the people that I want in relation to this painting. So I'm going to try to make that painting answer to the type of painting that Stubbs, Bellows, and Brangwyn would do. There's some cool stuff in here. Hang on. Oh, cool. Nice graffiti. So yeah, and then back here, I've collaged in something, and I'm gonna try to be accountable to that collage element. Like, can I compete with? Like, is there something that you like? You have the ability to literally paste it in there. That comes from a printer. I did a photocopy of this painting, and you can see the edge of the painting right there, which I disguised as the edge of this bridge element, and that's where my painting begins. So at this stage, my painting, this yellow is as strong as this, but a lot of the stuff in my painting isn't as strong as this painting. So I'm going to try to bring them together so that you kind of like read the world as one. And then there's this composition, which I don't know how that's going to relate to this world having a composition within a composition. This stuff is not English. These are not graffiti words. It's abstract. So, you know, you have the ability to step outside of English or any type of binary thinking or action, and it's very powerful, and that, you know, is part of why art is so important to me. Music does that too, but I mean, the visual, you can get someone so far along imagination wise and really get them to a strange place, one that you've been to and no one else has yet been to. And if you can speak very, very clearly, then the experience for yourself and others can be sublime. Okay, that's my sketchbook tour. I don't know if this is going to be shared with, but I'm going to put it on YouTube anyway. And that's it for now. I don't want to like take pictures of the book right now because it's in this intermediary stage. So I have like a PDF. I don't know, part of me's tempted to take clean pictures and send you a document, but either way, because it's, of course, then you can look at the pictures for a long time. But this is just my little quick solution to speaking to high school class of kids, or maybe you're in middle school. I don't know, I kind of forgot. As to the possibilities of sketchbooks. Okay, hope this helps. Godspeed. Bye.